Hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, y'all doing? Good morning. Can you guys hear me okay?
All good.
Awesome. Nice to meet y'all.
Nice to meet you. Your name is Lerai?
Lerai.
Lerai.
And
Yep.
you are
Brooks.
I know it's supposed to be Brooke.
Yeah,
That's what
Brooks.
it is. Hi, Brian. Okay, he just left.
Let me see if that works.
I don't like
Just trying to change my.
Oh, it sounds real good.
Is Rachel moderating? Is that right?
Yeah.
Where are you guys joining from? Where's home for y'all?
Yeah.
Pardon?
Ladies first.
I didn't even hear what he said.
Where's home? Where do you live?
Oh, I'm based in Johannesburg, South Africa. And yourself?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
South Africa in the building. Yeah, I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Milwaukee.
Awesom. I'm down in North Carolina in
Mm.
the U.S. So.
Alrighty.
I'm just at Myrtle Beach 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, definitely nobody out there, but it's good to see on the beach, especially from Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been beautiful down here. Really hot for us. So it's been cool.
How's the weather in Johannesburg?
The weather is always wonderful.
Maybe
We're
jealous.
going into spring right now, but we've actually been hit with a bit of a cold front, so we're a bit shook by that, if I might say. But it's okay.
Describe your cold front. Like, when a cold front comes? What's your definition of cold front?
There's no snow.
Okay. I'm jealous.
It's just, I guess, cold. I mean, I don't know, winter, our winter. That's actually what it is. Which also doesn't have snow.
Yeah, look, our fall is starting here. I'll say probably in about 4 weeks. So we'll probably get about 2 to 3 weeks of 60 degrees, 50 degrees, nice sweater, but then the snow comes. And it's time for snowman and Santa Claus.
Oh no. I think for us, our weather is actually pretty good all around the year. So I can't complain.
Hey guys.
What's up,
Hey,
PJ?
yeah.
How's it going?
It's good. How are you guys?
Good.
Awesome. Do you guys get to tune in for anything so far?
Didn't. I literally came into the end of book session. So I didn't even hear what you were saying.
Cool. No, that's cool. We got a lot more stuff going on after, so maybe you can jump in. Regardless, I think we can get started. So I'm actually going to be moderating this. And I mean, I guess we can start off for the people in the audience just to get to know everyone better. You guys can introduce your stuff, your projects, and just, I mean, in general, yourself. So I guess we can start off with Brooks and just go.
All right, yeah, I'll go first. So, hey, everybody. My name is Brooks Griffin. I'm a father, youth organizer, and president of the Inspired Network. So, as youth organizer, I work within Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to basically build the bridges between youth, residents, law enforcement, and community partners. So, it's definitely a great job to be in the streets, hearing conversations with families and young people about the change they want to make in the communities, being able to really make that happen. And I'm also the president of the Inspired Network. So it's a movement that stands for individuals needing spiritual power in real everyday dilemmas. So we're really advancing spirituality as a combat measure to combat trauma, abuse, and neglect. So right now, just really addressing stress, and how spirituality can be a way to heal, grow, lead that. So VJ, I'm definitely happy to be here to on this platform. Like I said, you're great. You're a great person to make this happen.
Yeah, no, it's I told again, it's all of us working together that's making this happen. It's not one person for sure. But I appreciate that definitely. And yeah, we can go to Lerai. Am I pronouncing that?
Righty. Well, hi everyone. My name is Lerai Rakoditwe. I'm from Johannesburg, South Africa. Okay, I am a creative entrepreneur and social change maker. I'm the co-owner of a company called African Talent Unearthed. And basically what we do, we are a creative arts company that seeks to facilitate the convergence of African authentic talent with global opportunities by providing access to the global stage, as well as equipping them with entrepreneurial skills. So I have a drama and performing arts background. So that's definitely, aligning with all the things that I do. Apart from that, what else do I do? I model, I act, I do public speaking. So yeah, I'm literally just gone blank. But okay, I'm one of the executives of an organization called Girl Up Johannesburg. I don't know if you guys know of Girl Up. It's actually based there in the US, but I'm one of the executives of the Johannesburg Club of Girl Up. Girl Up is based at the United Nations Foundation, so it's their initiative for adolescent girls all over the world. We actually have a campaign running as Girl Up with two other organizations called 1000 Girls Campaign, and basically what we're trying to do is raise 250,000 Rand for 1,000 refugee girls to have hygiene and sanitary pads. All along with that, I'm still in high school, so I'm completing my Cambridge A levels, and I guess that's something about me.
Very aggressive goal. I like that. But yeah, it's nice to meet you. I think this is the first time I'm speaking to you, so it's very cool. Brian, how about you?
Hey, nice to be here. I certainly did not do anything like that when I was in high school. So kudos to all the great work you're doing, Lerai. Yeah, my name is Brian Andraco. I'm actually in Raleigh, North Carolina, in the U.S. I'll kind of be short and sweet on it, I guess. I mean, my whole mission right now is kind of centered around my one word, which is as a navigator, to really help folks. I kind of call my trifecta of happiness. So folks do find what they love, what they can be great at, and where they want to make the most impact on the world. And I find if you can find those three, that's really where you're going to live your most fulfilled life. So that's where I'm at right now, because I've been going through that journey for many years and now trying to help others on their path. So I host a podcast I've had for almost 3 years called Just Get Started, where I interview a lot of entrepreneurs and founders about their journey and how they took the leap, whether all the fear and anxiety and all that stuff you go through. And we've all been through at different points of our life. How do we help motivate and inspire others that haven't gotten their journey yet? So just a little about me and some of the things I'm doing right now. I got a couple children's books that are coming out soon. I'm writing my first full-length book. It's a sales book that'll be out next year. So got some fun projects in the works as well. So excited to be here and chat with y'all.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I guess we all kind of have, like, each of us have like our own projects here. And I guess we can start off with just talking a little bit about those. We had a session earlier about the why behind like what we do. And I guess I just want to talk about the motivation behind the why. So I guess like starting off, we can just keep going around. We'll start off with Brian. Like, why did you start this podcast? What was the motivation behind it?
Well, I think for me, I mean, I don't know the age. I'm not in high school, right? I'm in my mid 30s. So being a little bit older, I've kind of been through a lot of different stages of my life. And for me, it was when I was in my 20s, I really had this kind of eye-opening I just was stuck. I felt like I was very complacent. Mm-hmm. I was kind of going through the ringers of what we're told we should do growing up, right? Yeah. You go to college, you get a job, probably entry level, and then you work your way up. And that's kind of it. You maybe get married, have kids, and that type of stuff. And what I realized was a lot of that's untrue. And that's not how life is. And so what I really started to do was kind of in my late 20s was really figure out like, what am I, and the word, I think, passion's thrown around a lot, but like, what am I really passionate about? What are the things that I want to do to impact the world that's going to make me happy and make me fulfilled in life? Because I only get one of these things. So that's what ultimately, I decided to get on this path and start the podcast is one thing, but that's a whole nother story in itself, but that's the whole thing of like coming over the fear and anxiety. I was actually going to start it in 2015. It took me 2 years to actually start it. And why it's called Just Get Started, because I know there's a lot of folks just like me that, whether it's the outside pressure or just no self-confidence or whatever it is, that, they ultimately maybe have fear to get on their own path. So ultimately I was able to take that leap, and it's been an unbelievable journey so far.
So I guess you're really referring to like overthinking the starting process. Is that right?
Right. Well, I think part of it's not, and I'm sure the others can relate to this, is not being confident that I could do it.
Right.
Worrying about, what's my neighbor going to think? Or, what happens if I fail? Or those type of things where it's like, I didn't have the self-confidence to realize that, you just got to take the first leap. Just put out an episode and then put out a second one. And, slowly but surely, once I finally got to that, now I'm over 120 episodes. It's like, now it's like, okay, this is what I wanted to do. This is what I think I think I can make an impact with people. But I had to get in that first step, which is the hardest, as I found.
Of course. Sorry about the background. But yeah, I mean, Brooks, what do you think about that?
And I definitely agree with Brian. I would say Inspired even started because our first step happened in 2015 in terms of I would say a formalized step. But really my why started off really when I was young. My quick solution was just to give up. I always had the towel in my hand, ready to throw it. Like as soon as an obstacle came, I was just ready. Here it comes, But now I realized even then that a lot of young people want to do that too, in terms of pressure, obstacles, like I said, stress, just family challenges. So through my own educational journey, through my own personal journey, and like I mentioned before, even in our last conversation, when my mom had 2 strokes, she kind of mentioned like, "Hey, Bruce, I need you to be inspired. I need you to take what you have and really, how all moms want you to be, So it started off, Brian, as you're talking about that first step, even with Inspired, it started off with a hashtag where we were just like, man, everybody go on Facebook and they always put negative stuff on what the world wants them to see. They're trying to, do this. Let's just really drive positive change by putting positive quotes, positive messages. Let's do Spirit Week, and let's, every day let's just really flood social media with positive quotes. We did that for about 2 months with some friends in college and, friends that I grew up with. Long story short, people start to ask us like, hey, can I join? And we're like, look, this not no organization. Like, like this is just a hashtag. But we started to hear that people needed a space to have those same conversations that Brian was talking about purpose, about fear of failure, about their significance, about, hey, am I thinking what I'm thinking? Is it right? Can I do something about it? And so we really, as leaders, we had to hold ourselves accountable and had to even learn through ourselves, like, man, how do you run a business? Like, what do I need as skills to run the business? Because people are expecting me to do it, but then how to sustain it? Because I don't plan on working a 9 to 5 anyway for the rest of my life. But how can I take that vision and incorporate it with the vision that I have? So even in 2020, we're still kind of using that same method where we're bringing everybody together to be a part of this vision to say, hey, we all need to talk about stress in a safe environment. And we're building that space. And I just appreciate you, VJ, for even allowing us to be in that space too, man.
For sure. Thank you so much. But yeah, it's all of us coming together. I think it's great. And I guess you brought up a good point, like just having that vision first, and then I guess business side of things like second, and really making sure that your current audience before expanding is having like those activities to engage with, that community feel. And I know you brought up like your spirit week, like your this activity, and just having those ongoing is just so important. But I want to hear what Lerai. I feel like I'm not pronouncing that right. It's I can't like
Okay, I'll correct you. I'll correct you. So
yeah.
sorry, I had a bit of a
Yeah,
technical difficulty.
basically
Could you
just
repeat
like
the
the
question for me?
why
I think I
behind
got
your
the gist
first
of it.
steps into I guess your journey, and even if you want to get into specifically like what Brooks was talking about, that vision of whatever you're doing, is that like what should be on the front of your organization versus like the business side of things, and the logistical side of things.
Well, I definitely think that the why and why you start is something that happens so organically. I mean, for me personally, my own journey with everything that I've done in my life, I didn't know what I was doing when I was doing it. I just sort of got into certain hobbies and all of that. And those starts, they put you on a journey, they put you on the path of your journey. And I think that's the same for everyone that ends up in any organization or ends up doing any form of work, whether it be, for social good or anything like that. For me, it was literally that, I have a background in drama and modeling, and that led me to start working with a few brands here in South Africa. Um, One of our leading sportswear retailers, Sports Scene, I worked with them on a few, campaigns, but then we ended up, because of how I am all about social change and getting people to be involved in conversations that are really meaningful, and not just being cool kids or whatever. Because of that, we've actually started there's a web series that we have
Yeah.
online powered by Reebok. I'm not sure if you guys know what Reebok is. Reebok, and it's called Culture Conversations. And so you see, from just me doing, a hobby that I loved, we've turned it into something that is going to be, conversations that people within our youth community here in Johannesburg, here in South Africa, all over the country can really engage with and participate in. So I don't, I don't even know what the why is. For me, it's doing what you love, doing what you're good at, and
Okay.
that's putting you on the
Definitely.
path of
And
your
I guess
journey.
that brings up the point. Like, are there times when you don't love it? And I guess overall, definitely you're gonna be very motivated for what you're doing. But like, I guess there's ups and downs always, right? So, are there down times for you?
you know,
Okay.
if you're passionate about something, I don't think there could ever be down times. There could be times where you might not feel like doing it today, but it's the same thing as not feeling like you want to get out of bed. You still do it anyways, because you have to get on with your life. So I definitely think that I never ever, not once, feel like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, because it's what drives me. It's the reason why I live. This is my purpose,
Yeah, I
so
completely
why
agree
would I
with that.
not want to
Totally.
be doing that?
Um, I think there is a laziness every once in a while for sure. But as you said, you just keep doing it because it's what you do. Like that's just what you're doing, and that's what you love doing. I completely agree. But so Brian, what do you think about that whole idea?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of prongs to that, right? I mean, at the end of the day, right? Yeah, you can't be on every day. Um, so I think this comes back to, mindset. It's like you have to understand that it's okay to take a day off, or it's okay to have personal time, or it's okay to sit for, I talk with a lot of folks around, even taking breaks during the day. It might be 10 minutes to go sit with no phone. And, you have to give yourself that. You certainly are going to have days of despair or times. And by the way, too, we all are probably doing this, or we know people that they're not doing the same thing they were doing 5-10 years ago, maybe even a year ago. And you can look at maybe people that are out there really well. Look at what they were doing 10 years ago. It's totally different. So your why may change. Your path is going to be ever winding. And I think what's important is to always be focused on, hey, listen, I'm doing this today, and this is what I'm spending a lot of time on. but it's leading me to maybe something else. When I was teaching golf, so my first career was I was a PGA professional. I used to teach golf, had a teaching business. If you asked me 15 years ago, I was going to be one of the top golf instructors in the world. That was my thing. That's obviously changed, a whole 180 degrees. So I think what's important for us to really remember is that's why I don't like making goals. I don't like making goals 20 years out, the flag in the ground of I'm going to be CEO of this company. That's why I call it the North Star. I think if you have a mission, kind of like I said, if you have a mission or somewhere you're kind of going, then things are going to navigate and change on that path. And you might end up something totally different, but it makes you happy because you've gone through all that discovery. But if you put yourself in like, I have to be here, now you're going to have a lot of more of those days of like, oh, this sucks. Because maybe you should have been on a different path if you just listened to yourself. I don't know if that makes sense, but,
Yeah, no, I think I kind of get it. I think it's more about just doing what you love when you love it. And taking that time off is very important so that you stay motivated when you're working on it.
Right. And accepting that you're going to change and evolve as a person. So, and this goes back to what I was mentioning before about starting the podcast and stuff, is if you're so worried about the outside influences of what others think, that is going to generally direct you, and most times in a wrong way. So, for instance, if Brooks wanted to, not do his thing anymore with the Inspired Network, if he made that decision personally, then he can't fault himself. He's going to do something else. But if he kept going along with it because of the optics of how it would look if he quit, well, now you're not living the life that you want to live, right? Same thing. If I want to stop doing the podcast tomorrow or stop writing or do whatever, it's on me. And there's nothing wrong with that. That was the hardest thing when I left golf, was I was known as the golf guy. With all my friends and family and all my clients and all this stuff, I was the golf guy. I was the golf instructor, all that stuff. That was hard for a year or two after, because that's how I identified. And that's why I've changed that, where I don't identify as something like a job, right? I'm a certain person, just like everyone else in this call is. So I think that's the most important thing. And then eventually that's going to guide you in a various direction that you don't even know what it is going to be, right? You don't know what 6 months is going to happen from now. You just got to keep putting in the time each and every day,
Yeah. I think not giving into like what other people think. It's just, I feel like everybody has done it at points, but it's so important to do your best to like not give in and really do what you want. I guess all of you guys touched on that. I think it's extremely important as well, for sure. So Brooks, I have a question for you. You have this great community, and I'm sure you talk to people on a daily, if not like weekly basis, for sure. So what I guess topics have come up so often that what type of advice would you give to the people in the audience?
That's a good question. I think right now the overarching topics that come, in domains of students, leaders, adults, law enforcement, community, is fear. And I think we're really tapping at it right now of not knowing what you don't know. And really understanding, do I have power with that, or am I powerless? And being able to facilitate those conversations to really push the self-worth in individuals. I know we're talking about individuals from the outside can really change our inside motivation. And I like to encourage everybody to even say like, hey man, you're your own best expert. You talk to yourself more than anybody talks to themselves throughout the day. And when you're talking to yourself, challenge ourselves to think about what you're thinking about. So when you're saying like, oh man, I want to give up, or oh, this is getting too hard, like think about why you're thinking about that. Like, did somebody tell you that? Did somebody put you in that place of mindset? Is the media telling you about yourself that this is you? But when you get the power to think about what you're thinking about, then you're being able to make better decisions. And I think right now in the midst of COVID, in the midst of change, where change is like happening every day, and there's you're not able to kind of and I would say before the pandemic, you were able to better strategically know what's happening the next day. Now it's like you just got to take today for what it is and just do what you got to do today and just hope for better tomorrow. But I think in terms of leaders, that's a mindset that we should have took on a long time ago. That there is beauty of today, and if you can give your all today, like I said, also think about what you're thinking about today and not think about tomorrow. Like I said, taking that first step today, actions can happen today. I think about the hashtag from me putting a hashtag out on social media. Somebody hit me up, just really wanting to talk. So my work was done. The purpose, the why happened. Wasn't expecting that. I didn't have that on a Word document, but in somebody's heart, they was waiting for that moment. So there's definitely a lot of individuals that's waiting for you, but we just got to make sure that we're in tune within ourselves, within our own emotions. Running away from perfectionism, because I think as leaders, that's something that is one of our main barriers. That we just have to always have things right, and if we don't, we call ourselves failures. But there's definitely a lot of individuals that go through the same thing.
I think the way you put it is perfect. Like being able to think about what you're thinking about, if that makes sense, as you said. But really, I guess being in control of your own mind, that general topic, because you're responsible for your actions, you're gonna do what you want to do at the end of the day, even if like there are other people who might bias it, but if it's just you there, you're gonna do what you love to do, and you're gonna do what you want to do.
Yeah, and I think, and this is a call right now during this time and I'm calling to have individuals to focus more on their emotions rather than their behaviors. Growing up, I was always, labeled off my behaviors. Oh, you're mad, so you're angry. Oh, you're acting out, so now you're this type of person, but not really looking at the underlying needs that made those behaviors happen. So, to be able to track and say, okay, when I'm stressed out or when I'm doing this, then I make this decision. So let me think about what I'm thinking about before I even get stressed. If my heart is beating, let me breathe, so then I can be able to make a better decision. No small habits make a better leader.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I saw Lerai, you were nodding your head there. So what do you think about that?
For me, where I guess I'll just go back to what you said about, giving someone advice, anybody that's watching this. For me, what I can say is you need to just start, We often put ourselves in the state of analysis paralysis before we start something, and we start overthinking and saying, okay, well, how am I going to do this, or how do I get into this, and you don't actually start doing what you want to do or what you need to do. So it's as simple as joining a network. It's as simple as getting involved in a hashtag, and how just doing something so small can connect you with the right people. There's something about when you start doing something and that just connects you with the right people, that puts you in the direction of where you need to go. So for me, it's honestly just start doing whatever it is that you have the why for, because I think if we're sitting here, we all already have some sort of why. We know why we're doing it or what we want to do, but start.
Screw it, just
You
start.
just need
I think that's
start.
a good way to put it.
Well, on the other side, if I can interject there, I think the other side of the coin on that, though, is there are a lot of people, though, because I at least I know I was in this position, that don't know their why yet, and they're confused, and they're not sure of they're like, God, yeah, these guys seem like they've done whatever, but we all have a story of times where we didn't have that before. And I think the most important thing, if I could layer on that, is if you don't know what your why is, or you don't know what you're passionate about or anything like that, then you need to start doing things to try it out. So you need join a club that you never would have joined before, or try like for your I'm big into like fitness, right, and nutrition stuff. But say you don't work out, you're not in fitness. Well, go join a fitness club, or maybe a group class or something, because it's so far out of your comfort zone. And the reason I think that's valuable is, again, doing anything. I'm just using that as an example. Maybe you've never painted before. Well, go take a paint class. Do something that's so outside your comfort zone for two reasons. One is you may actually like that. If you don't, though, you check the box off that, maybe this is not my jam. But the second thing is to start getting those feelings. Brooke was talking a little about those emotions and feelings, but start to get those feelings of what does it feel like when I'm uncomfortable? What does it feel like when, if I'm an introvert, I have to actually maybe be around bigger groups of people? What I think that helps folks start to do is understand who you are, because that's the big thing here. If we understand who we are as a person, and sometimes that takes years, but if you start to understand that, you can make better decisions on where you want your life to go. But if you don't know what you're about or what you care about, then you're going to kind of follow the herd, and not do your thing that really makes you happy.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I don't know if you guys know Gary Vaynerchuk, but he's like this big social media guy. I love that guy, and he
got all his books right here.
We have it on my books, like right there. It's crazy, but he always does like it's all about you and what you want to do, having these new experiences so that you can figure out like if you enjoy it or not. And I think that's so important. Especially for me, like when I go outside my comfortable zone, I guess per se, I get like a sort of an adrenaline rush. And I love it. I love the feeling, first of all. And then if it's an activity that I do enjoy regardless, like it just, I guess, multiplies that feeling. And, I mean, I love that. I see Brooks is his head a lot, so I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I agree, but I like to sum it up as a question. When is the last time you did something for the first time? And I ask myself that question every single day because I love doing things for the first time. If it could be with anybody else. I remember when I went tubing, I was so scared, but it was like, oh man, this is the first time, so I had to do it before I could say I did it. I just, like I told Brian, I went to Myrtle Beach only because I never put my body underneath an ocean water because I've been scared of like a shark gonna come get me. But when I did it, I got out the water and I said, "Ooh, I'm a better man." But just that feeling, that pride that you have in yourself, I like to really push that constructive pride. That's that pride that you can take, not to make anybody else, feel bad about themselves or make yourself seem higher, but to make positive change because you know that you are capable of doing so many great things. So I'm definitely an advocate, especially for young people, because I believe they're the solution and they have all the answers, but they just need to try it, put them out into the world. And if we can push them to put it out into the world, then we can collaborate better on their vision.
Yeah, well, one thing too to add to that is, and I look at this. I have an 8-year-old son, so I'm kind of in that position of like I have to actually, be his influence. I think it's different when we were all a little younger, right? And I see this even with my parents and stuff. Is we went out, like I remember, I'm from a small town in upstate New York, but I remember like I would leave for hours on end. And I'm talking when I was 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. I would leave for hours on end. My parents wouldn't know where I am, and they just assumed I'd come back, right? I'd be down at the creek or whatever. And now we put bubble wrap around a lot of the kids and not let them go out and try stuff. And that's my encouragement to him always is we're going to put you in karate. We're going to try soccer. We're going to do other stuff. You may not like it, but you need to try. It's like tasting new food. You at least have to taste it once or twice. If you don't like it, fine, won't have it again. But you have to have that experience. So I think that's add what Brooks just said. I think it's so important that you get out there and you do certain things. You may not like it, but at least you've tried it and experienced it, and that makes you a better person in the long run.
Yeah,
that's this alligator. I had to try it first, and once I tried it, it became my favorite food. So, it's definitely a great thing.
I've never had alligator. That's so
look. Now you got to try it.
Really? Yeah. I don't know. Brian, have you?
I don't think I've had alligator. I've had frog's legs. Those were interesting. But
wow, this is interesting. But yeah, I mean, we don't have too much time left, so I will open up the floor to like fans. If they have questions in the chat, they even want to come up onto the screen. They can request to share video. What do you guys think? And I see Ruben, amazing guy. He asked a question 10 minutes ago. How do you get people to support your why? And we don't have too much time left, so maybe we can keep it somewhat brief. But Lerai, how do you get people to why?
I think one of the greatest things about the time that we're living in right now is that we have social media. We have our phones at the tips of the fingers where I can, from Johannesburg, South Africa, connect with you guys who are all in the States. It's such an amazing tool that we have. And what you need to do is be able to use it effectively, take advantage of it. And when you do that, when you know what your why is, when you figure it out and know that there's growth, you always need to be able to accept growth and be open to learning all of those things. Once you have all of those things, people will definitely want to hop onto your wave, as the kids say, because if you're doing good or you're doing something that is purposeful, that is going to make a change in the world, because that's what people need, definitely take advantage of social media, take advantage of just using the tools that you have, and people will
Yeah,
definitely
I was like, I
join
think
in.
Ruben, and I mean, she said that you had this huge audience on Instagram as well. And I guess like I think that's a big part. I think you're very skilled at like raising that audience. Um, but yeah, I definitely understand that. I feel that.
If I'll interject quickly to Ruben's question, I think this is something, and my answer probably would have been different 5 years ago. Is you choose your circles that you go in. I surrounded myself in the past with people that they were takers, right? It wasn't the best probably people I should have been around, but because it's just how I was growing up, as a middle child and needed the attention, it worked for me. And now that I've realized that, I think the people, how do you get people to support your why is having the right people in your life. So if you have people that don't support you of what you want to do, that should be a really good indicator of maybe they're not the best people to be in your life. Not that you have to cut them out completely, but maybe don't talk to them all the time. I've been fortunate to be around, like, where I got connected to this with the next gen community and stuff like that, is finding new people that have similar passions to you. But not only that, is they're going to be the ones that actually support your vision and what you want to do one way or another. And they'll be critical where needed, where you want that feedback. But I think that's the most important thing is don't just accept the people that are in your life just because they got there now. Who are the people that are going to go forward with you and be that support system that you really need? Because that is so, so important to being successful. You cannot do it alone.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I think growing up, like even in the school environment, like it's hard to, I guess, build that community that you want centered around you. So to be completely honest, I don't have too much experience with that. And I think when I'm, I guess, going through college and everything, that's probably like the first most important step, to introduce yourself to everybody, but really get to know them, and then get like your own, I guess, inner friend circle, and build your own community. And that's just, I mean, that's what I think. I don't know, Brooks, what do you think about all that?
Yeah, and I think to have people why is two things. One, I think you have to be your why. I think even with the mission of the Inspired Network to say like, hey, we're combating the effects of trauma, abuse, and neglect. Like I had to open up my story about abuse, trauma, and neglect. And with me being able to be vulnerable, that's how the movement be able to came, because it was a safe space, especially for young Black men. Talk about pain, fear, hurt, love. So that's definitely making me a better leader. But then I'm also too learning to keep it simple. I even think about inspired. That's eight words for eight acronyms. A young person not going to be able to take that on and to make that a livable framework and a practical framework. So to be able to condense that to heal, grow, lead, to make it simple for them to hop on, so that they can be able to advocate for it as well, but that they can speak on it and they can know what it means. When a community can see the vision, but then also can speak the same vision that you have, that's when they're able to also support it. So I think bringing people to the table, having their voice at the table, having them be a part of decision making, but then always making sure that everybody understands that they are worth everything. We need them. They make the world. Like without them, the world is nothing. And we need every single body. So
Yeah,
that's how we get it on.
that's facts. That's facts.
Big facts, big facts.
Yeah. But yeah, we are running out of time. We went a bit over. That's fine. But I just want to sum it up. So if there was one, I guess, in just a sentence that each of you have for the audience to keep in mind, whether it be for whatever they're doing next, or even just in general to keep in mind, what would each of you guys say? I guess we can start with Lerai.
That's a tough one. One sentence. I think I just have to go back to what I said earlier, just get started. Whether or not you have your why, start it. You will always grow and learn new things. That's
Yeah,
my one
no.
sentence. I could say more, but
Cool. How about you, Brian?
Yeah, I would add. I'll probably say the biggest thing that has, as a conglomerate of all the guests I've had on the Just Get Started podcast and stuff like that, I would say the biggest advice, because again we can give probably a million pieces, is to stay consistent. It's easy to quit, right? As I think Brooks, you mentioned that earlier, right? I mean, we've all done it, but stay consistent through the process. Anyone that that's quote unquote successful or has got to a point where they're really happy and fulfilled, they didn't do it overnight, right? There's no such thing as an overnight success. So just stay consistent with the process. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have days where you don't want to do it or do want to do it. Just keep moving forward. And as Brooks mentioned earlier, it's one day at a time. Don't worry so much about 5 or 10 years in the future. You'll get there maybe, but worry about tomorrow. And if you do great tomorrow, you have a chance the next day to do great as well. So just stay consistent with the process. Don't beat yourself up too much. Enjoy life. Life's fun. If you really have that positive perspective on it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm like the type of person who kind of rushes through things just because like I'm excited about it. So I think that's something that I've definitely learned over like the past year for sure with a lot of experiences. But yeah, Brooks, how about you?
Yeah. And I would say that we need you. I think that encompasses so much, but it means it's true that we need you. And to kind of put a subtopic underneath that is just don't give up. Like Brian was saying, it's the easy thing to do, but that's the quickest decision that everybody's doing right now in terms of nationally. So understanding that you're worth it. Hey, let's get to work. Let's, like Lerai said, let's take that step. And I'm here with you if you need me.
Awesome. I love that. But yeah, we'll wrap it up. I'm so grateful for all of you guys to be here. Amazing stuff and amazing stories. And yeah, just thank you all again.
Thank you, VJ.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you to Brian and Brooks for, being part of this. I think it was, for me personally, so much insight, and knowledge from both of you. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, let's connect. We got to stay connected, y'all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll chat with y'all.
We're creating a Slack. I think we already created it. So we'll definitely send out invites to everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'll talk to you guys later. And
Great.
You all.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
You too.